Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So if you caught my last video on a bit of the update on my drawer system here, you would have seen that the plan is to add in a drawer in here. I'm just going to pull out. I'm going to then put on a faceplate on here, build shelf and a fridge box to go on top of that, so it's all nice and flat on the surface, and then also go through, chuck in a couple of wings on both sides and close it all in down here. So if we're looking at this, so it's 617mm long for the actual carcass of the drawer. Obviously the drawer is then going to be smaller inside of that. 455 wide, 260 high. Cool. Let's get building. Alright guys, so just to show you just how easy it is to actually pull this out and remove it from the back of the car if needed. I'm going to set you up on a bit of a time lapse to show you that process now. The only thing that I have done in advance is just pull out the battery. Alright, now you can actually see sort of how I've got it mounted down. So I've got these timber blocks underneath the third row seat latches, and they've got some T-nuts in the bottom of them to screw into. You can really see as well how much extra storage space we have because all that sits underneath the actual floor mat. The false floor. And then over here, I've just pulled it out. All of the bolts you saw me unscrewing, I'll go through these T-nuts underneath, so all those mounting locations, which means I can unscrew and re-screw them back in as many times as I like, and it's not going to sort of de-thread or whatnot as if it would if I was just using screws and then unscrewing. So using the bolts and the T-nuts is definitely the best option. Alright, and as I was mentioning in the previous video as well, I've got these 250 kilo drawer slides. These are 600mm long, 2-foot drawer slides. They're going to be sitting so they line up with these ones, like so. And then, yeah, this one will be somewhere around there. Okay, so there's a lot of scribble on this page, so I'll put up a bit of a screenshot on the screen now for you that explains all the cuts I'm going to do. So the actual cuts, using a cut list optimizer for the carcass, I'll need 5 panels. There'll be a top, there'll be a bottom, 2 sides, and a back. I'm only doing a total of 7 cuts to get all 5 pieces, and I'll show you how I'm going to cut those now. Alright, there are our 5 panels all cut, ready to start pre-drilling with pocket holes and starting to assemble. There'll be a little bit of sanding required for some of them because it is sort of a cheaper plywood, so there are some splinters as well. Okay, so the next step now is I'm going to go through, throw in little pocket holes, pre-drill pocket holes here for the top and for the bottom on both side pieces, and I'll also do the same for the back piece on the top, bottoms, sides. So it's secured all the way around. I'm going to add glue and pocket hole screws to hold all this together. It's going to make a nice little pocket hole like so. I'm just going to go through now and do that for all of them, and there's quite a few. So I'm just going to set up on time lapse there so you don't have to watch me do every single one of them. There we go. Pocket holes screwed on the back, 2 sides. What I'm actually going to do now, because I'm not going to be carpeting the inside of the carcass, of the drawer carcass, the only time that it would be seen is when the drawer is actually pulled out, and you might be able to see down the small gap where like the drawer slides are. And I don't want it to look like raw timber or pine and stand out because everything else is all black. So what I'm going to do is actually just spray paint the inside face of all of these panels. Cool. Also got these handy little right angle clamps as well that I'm going to use to hold it in place while I screw it together and try and keep it somewhat square, or as square as possible. wanted to go ahead and carpet it all before I put the slides in, because I do want to tuck the carpet a little bit in here, and then the slide's going to sit on top of it. So got to do that. So what I'm going to do now is grab the orbital sander out, sand over all the edges, make them slightly rounded so that the carpet sticks a bit better, just because the carpet doesn't really like sticking to a hard 90-degree angle. It'll have more of a chance of popping loose. So I'm just going to round it ever so slightly, sand it all nice, flat and smooth, and then throw some adhesive on there, throw the carpet on there. Cool, so just throwing it up on here now, all fully carpeted. Saw me carpet a few sides on there. I've just gone through, fixed it all up, finished it up, and all the carpet's sort of wrapped around on the inside. A couple of staples on the inside just to hold it there while it dried. Doesn't really need it, but it's at least now. So when I have the drawer in here, if you do see down the side a little bit, you'll see carpet. So you probably won't see all the way back here, which will be good. And once this gets bolted down, you can see it drops just a little bit into the carpet. A bit hard to see, but once that's pushed down, it'll sit pretty well close to being perfect. And once this is sandwiched together and bolted together, pretty awesome. So it's looking really good. The reason why this here is pulled in a little bit is from the fridge slide. All the tension from the base here is kind of pulling this in just a little bit. So once that can actually pull out, it'll sit really flush and should actually make the fridge slide a little bit looser as well, a bit easier to sort of operate. Cool, really happy with it. It's turned out pretty good. And in here, I've just got a little bit of a head start on attaching the first drawer slide, but I've pre-drilled a couple of holes. I'll show you how I did that on this side because I haven't done this side yet. So I'll show you how I do the drawer slides, sorry. But I've just stapled in, it's not glued in, it's just stapled in a couple of little scrap bits of carpet back here, which is essentially emulating the carpet at the front because the drawer slide sits on top of the front here. And that is going to ensure that it remains at the same height and same distance from the sidewall, so it'll stay level. I'm going to be attaching it with bolts. Bolt through the slide, through the wall here, and then onto the other side with a nut. I think that's going to be the best way to do it. One bolt at the front, two at the back. Same on this side. And then I can look at where I'm going to drill my mounting positions on the base to go through the false floor, which will have the same sort of mounting system as the fridge slide here with these T-nuts and bolts. just use the little spade bit on the drill, 19mm spade, because it fits these washers in there pretty perfectly in that hole. And then I've got just a little square nut on the end to tighten it in. So what that does is essentially makes this nice and flush now, so it's not going to foul with anything when I'm attaching it to actually this side. So I'm just going to go ahead now, repeat that for this second hole and for this third hole here, and then that draw side will be attached in there really firmly, really securely. There we go. As you can see, it lines up pretty well, smack bang perfect on down there, which is awesome. So good. Okay, one down, one to go on this side. Alrighty, got it all sort of clamped up here now. Got both draw slides in there and sliding really nice. Lines up really nicely with the heights as well. I've just gone ahead and clamped these together nice and flush because I want that to be as flush as possible there. And then I've also clamped it down to the false floor. So this is a position I want it to sit in. So I'm going to go ahead now and pre-drill a few holes through here. Put some T-nuts underneath, and then I can test fit this for real. These are the bolts that will be supporting it. So I've got an 8.5mm drill bit that's going to essentially fit that quite nicely with a little bit of space to spare. I'm going to now drill from the bottom up just because I don't have enough space in here to get the drill with the bigger drill bit, which is why I use a smaller drill bit to pre-drill first. Now I'm going to drill from the bottom up. Alrighty, so I've just finished up with that now, thrown in, got both the draw slides in here. I've got the 4 mounting points with the bolts, 1, 2, 3, and then 4s underneath here. And then I've got 2 mounts sandwiching these two together here to hold it all nice and secure. Just use a couple of black bolts and black washers. Our measurements for the draw is going to be 600mm long, 230mm high, which will give us a little bit of wiggle room. I don't want it to be too tight. And then width is going to be 387mm. Okay. Got all my plywood. I'm gonna break this out now. I'm gonna get the cut list optimizer out to try and optimize those cuts again. And then we're gonna lay it down, cut it out, glue it, screw it together with pocket hole screws. Exactly the same process that we used for this. And then hopefully it'll fit. So I'm going to get to that now, throw you on a time lapse because you've seen all of it before doing this guy. So it's the same process. I won't bore you by sitting you through, making you sit through the entire thing. So time lapse it is. Alrighty, so it's all then cut, sanded down, put in the pocket holes. I did drill a few too many, made a bit of a mistake on that. I ended up drilling pocket holes in the top and the bottom of these front and end pieces when they're not going to be used because the base is sitting inside of it. So like so. So the actual screws will be coming through the base up into this. That's alright, because it's all going to be carpeted over anyway, so you're not going to see any of that, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead now, do the glue and screw up. Cool, there we go. So, turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. It's not the best, but it's, you know, definitely acceptable, I think. And yeah, just to show you how this isn't really going to impact, I've got a faceplate which is going to be carpeted and have the handle on it, and then that's going to be sort of screwed from the inside on, so you're not going to see any of that whatsoever. Turned out great. I'm just going to have to see if it's actually going to fit. That's the next thing to do. Haven't test fit it yet, so fingers crossed. There we go. Fits pretty snug. I've got to figure out this faceplate in terms of the spacing and where I need to notch out these little tabs for the locking slides. It will be carpeted, so I've got a couple of little scrap bits of carpet here, which will slide down each side. It fits, and it fits relatively snugly, and I wanted it to fit quite tight so that when it's actually shut, it's not rattling around as a drive. However, I don't want it too tight where it's going to be difficult to actually open. But I feel like this is quite good where it's at. But now I need to work out how I'm going to actually notch these out. So what I'm going to do for that, it's going to be a little bit of freehand. There's probably, well, definitely better ways of doing this, but I'm going to do it sort of the quick and dirty kind of way, like so. So I've got my spacing, and then I know that going to be somewhere around there. About down to there. Okay. Height wise. I'm going to duplicate those measurements on the other side, and I think we'll be pretty good with that. Go ahead, cut that out of the jigsaw after I transfer it to this side, and then that should slide over the top, should function. I can get it carpeted and get it ready, because at the moment I am just carpeting up my actual drawer, and that's going to go on the front. Alrighty, so I'm about to throw my drawers all back in the back of the car there. Before I do that though, previously I was just using a little ratchet, socket ratchet to actually install all the bolts since I've been building it. But now I'm coming sort of to the end of the build. I've picked up this little drill attachment, which I'm going to then pair with the actual socket. And chucking the impact driver. But as we can see, it is quite dark outside, and impact drivers can be rather loud. So I am going to just use the normal drill for it, so it doesn't have the actual sort of loudness of the impact driving those bolts in. So I'm going to stick with that. I put my faceplate on here. That was super easy. Still got the handle on the front probably. Just want to see how I go with it first. There we go. So it's just 4 little screws that went in the back here. So I think it was 1, 2, 3 and 4, just to hold that on. Yeah, I'm really liking how it's turning out.